Yorkers.
So, in your experience as an entrepreneur, what are some of the best cities
That I've been to?
that's helped your growth, and why?
Number one is Atlanta because there's people that look like me there. All right. Second would be Houston. It's near and dear to my heart. Third would be Dallas. I think fourth or much would be North and South Carolina.
I heard good things.
I think 5 would be. All right. Welcome. Listen, last podcast, I got my headphones in real quick. Last podcast, it didn't record on Jordan. So Jay, say something.
We here.
Yeah, say something again, Jay.
Charlemagne, are we live?
Yes, we are live.
All right.
We are live.
All
Welcome to another episode of the Hidden Opportunity Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Hidden Opportunity Podcast. I'm Trevor Jackson. I'm with your host,
Jonah Warrior of Warrior Capital.
Jay. What's the word with you, baby?
Just going, man. Just had a couple good days in a row.
You know, when your greatest nights are your every nights, it starts to get a little crazy. But I digress. We're sitting here in all white for a reason.
Okay.
This is a different all white than the last all white where I told you about the racist people. This all white's 100% different. I have no headphones in. You got to let me know if you can hear me. So, Jay was home. He was in New York. I went to Atlanta to see my family. I haven't seen him or his baby. I haven't seen his baby at all. Shout out to Pablito. I haven't seen his child at all. And I got to meet baby boy. His wife was there. He was there. It was a good time. And I touched down to Atlanta. And when I touched down, what's good? Jay, you good?
No, I'm listening. It's in and out.
Listen, what do you mean it's in and out?
It's in and out. It's catching you.
It's either in or there. It's
No,
broad.
for some
This
reason,
is
it's
wild.
like every 4 words.
Come on. We're gonna
Now
see.
you're good. Now
We're
you're
gonna
good.
see.
Now you're
We're
good.
gonna see.
But in the
We're going to see. Just like
we'll
last
figure it
one,
out.
part of the
We'll figure it
audio.
out. We'll be okay.
So we went out there to Atlanta. I went out there to Atlanta. And needless to say, it's a little Wakanda. There's a lot of vibranium out there.
A lot.
It was a good time. And we get there. And I said to myself, is this a better place than New York? Because I'm from New York. And there's a booming metropolis in Atlanta. And you just sent me the CSNBC article on, a lot of people going to Florida and Texas and Charlotte and Atlanta and leaving New York in droves.
Young people making over 200,000.
Yes. And I said, self, maybe I don't want to leave
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay. Talk about it.
I'm talking, and when your greatest nights are your every nights, you have to say to yourself, should I be here forever?
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Hey, I'm not leaving.
Listen.
And I
That's
say
how you
all this to
felt in
say,
Atlanta?
where? This is Summer Part 2, 2023.
Okay.
Because we did 2022.
Yes. That the summer
And-
wasn't summering. We had 2 different
Is
perspectives.
New York dying?
Nah.
No?
But I do
Or
think
is
it's
it
different. I do think it's different.
Because New York used to be the melting pot. It used to be the home of everything and everybody. It still is.
Still is.
But are we, and this isn't me being biased no more, because summer is summering,
I could imagine.
and New York is good, but I don't know if summer is summering or if life is life.
I think we're at the stage where it's just kind of life. Like our worst days are.
So the greatest nights are every night,
We've had a lot of good nights.
and our
Regardless of
greatest
where we
days
are.
are every night,
Yeah.
every days.
But for people listening to the pod, they're still outside. They still gonna find the vibe in New York City, find the vibe in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And now, whether they maximize on that, and what I mean by that is Atlanta was also a very good location because the ecosystem of entrepreneurs, money, and just excellence. It was a lot tighter.
Concentrated.
Very concentrated.
In New York.
No, in Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Atlanta. In New York, it's a little bit more spread out because New York, you have so much of everything that is so blended. It's like
you're always gonna have your financial capital. You're always gonna have your business and your media, but media is in Atlanta. Media is in Austin, Texas. It's in Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and Miami. It's just spread out as technology continues to grow. You get to the point where you don't need to be in one central location. You can be in these very popping areas as well. So
most people are doing that because now when you can work from your computer, a lot of jobs, like even when I deal with clients, a lot of them are taking jobs with the idea that it's going to be remote.
So
it has to be remote.
That leads me to my question, and I'll say this. I'll take it away from New York, and I'll say it in general. What makes for you as a financial advisor and having clients that are between the ages of 25 and 45, 50, what makes an area popping for young, successful entrepreneurs?
That's a great question. So one is ecosystem and network.
What do you mean?
So are you able to find like-minded people, age group, net worth in a particular area that you're able to feed off of, right? So we're lucky in New York. We have our own embedded network because just the core group of guys that we deal with have access to a lot of things. Yeah. But if you don't have that, can you go out to a networking event? Can you go out for drinks in New York or somewhere and meet a group of people that can help you get to the next level business-wise, and that's rooting for you, trying to refer you people, trying to invite you out, trying to see you progress, right? That's one thing. Two is, are people supporting businesses, especially new early businesses, right? Because people forget that 90+% of businesses are small businesses, like the small microcosm of the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, all these $1 trillion, $500 million companies. That's what 1-2% of the real market of America's economy. It's more so small businesses. So why do I bring that up? It's more so small businesses.
What's a small business?
Small business is small business. That's a great question. If we start talking about numbers or caps, like a large cap company is a company making like 1 to 5 billion. That's a large cap. Those are the Apples, the Nvidias, the Googles, the Walmarts, so on and so on and so forth. Then you have your mid caps. Those are the companies that you'll notice are anywhere between 500 million to 100 million. That in that gray area, right? Mega. Those mega large caps. And what I mean, so let me go back. Mega large caps are those companies making like 5 billion and up, 10 billion and up.
What's the thing?
Oh,
other than Apple,
the Apple, Amazon, okay. You know what I mean? Like you got those guys, right? Then you have the regular large cap, which is about $1 billion to 5 billion. Then, because you got to remember, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Those companies are the biggest in the economy, making billions of dollars a year. Large cap about $1 billion. Mid cap is about 100 to 500 million. Then you have small cap. Those are sub $100 million companies. Then you have micro, which is like 10 million to 50 million, 50 million to 100 million. Those are micro cap companies. But think about that. How much companies really make 10 million to 50 million?
Very little.
Exactly. So that's the public stock market when we talk about trading companies. Now, when we bring back to Trev's question about like why would an entrepreneur or young people move out to, a place like maybe Atlanta or Houston or something along those lines, is because 80+% of those businesses are not making 10 million plus a year. Those mom and pop stores that open up fish food, clothing, hair, any small business, do you have a group of people that will support you organically in those early stages for you to get to the point where you could scale? So when you talk about, is it a good place to move to Atlanta, Houston, or Cali? Maybe Cali, because Cali is relative.
Expensive.
Very expensive. That's why I kind of hesitated with Cali, because it's not necessarily.
Is everything right now not expensive, though? Like, everything seems expensive.
I feel across the board, but everything is now relative. And what I mean by that is like New York is expensive. Atlanta is expensive. But Atlanta isn't expensive when you start to compare it to New York. You see what I'm getting at? So it's relative. Like, Cali is expensive. New York is, Vegas is expensive.
See, the thing about New York is there was a time where it was the place to live. It was a time where it was the place to migrate to.
Because of opportunity, because you had more people supporting you, you had more flow of capital. But we touched it on the nose, which is you guys as listeners, this whole new generation, you're able to create more opportunity just from technology alone. Technology made the world yay big, which took away New York's advantage. Because remember, you had to be in the mix at the time to go raise capital.
I think what took away New York's advantage was the rising cost of living.
It's always New York, but that's what you pay for, though. It's like Cali, you pay for that access. New York, you pay for that access. That's the point.
See, the thing with Cali is the weather, right? That's the thing that gets people. So you're paying for quality of life. Like those dog days of January, February, March, and April. When you talk about that 4-month period, it's hell.
In New York.
In New York. All year is pretty much nice in LA. But that January, February,
also
March.
burn it. It's hot. They have
yeah, but it's different. When you in that January through May, January through April in LA, it's a better vibe, man. It's just a better vibe. It's hell.
It's New Year.
It's hell
for everybody who doesn't live in New York.
After New Year's, oh my goodness,
it gets cold.
Oh my, cold is not the word.
It's 4 o'clock,
and it's not like when you have Christmas and you have Thanksgiving and you have Halloween, you have the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. You forget
it's dark outside. Yeah. Well, as soon as that vibrance is over, and you sitting here and it's January 3rd and it's dark at 3.
And you looking around like, I got to go back to work.
I got to go back to work. It's like, yo, this is awful.
Because a lot of times entrepreneurs, you're working at 6, 7, 8 at night. So if it started to get dark at 4 o'clock,
nah, it's 3:30, my G. It's 3:30.
A little dramatic.
All right. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and it's pitch black in this John, and you sitting here and you looking like help me, because why is it this dark?
It is.
It's depressing.
It is. But that is the reason why I've talked to my entrepreneurial clients, and they've moved or spent time in a Cali or a Miami or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people that have to live somewhere full year round. So that's why I see the benefits of moving to Cali. And that's why every year around the same time of year when I go summer is not summering or summer is summering or New York is dead part 85 is because there's this, like, the thing that made New York was the opportunity that you can have, right, as a youth. As when I say youth, I mean anywhere between the ages of 16 and 40. No. That's what I mean as a youth. And that opportunity no longer presents itself because when it takes $1,700 to live in a 1-bedroom apartment and not even have the rest of the apartment to yourself, and it's the size of me, it's like from here to over there, from blue couch to blue couch. That's terrible, my G. That's awful. So don't tell me it makes sense.
I didn't tell you it makes
sense. You just said it does.
In terms of what?
You just said, I heard you say to yourself it does.
What, living in New York? It
yes.
always does. It always will. But at the end of the day, if you can find better network or people or access, and that's why I brought up technology. Because I just said that. I'm like, that's what took. You talk about, hey, listen, New York been lost it because of cost. I'm like, no, New York didn't been lose anything because it still has it. But now you could get the same opportunity.
It still has it?
It still has what? It still has all the money in New York? Yeah. It still has the financial capital of the world? Yeah. It still has
I'm talking about for the young bull out here that is
no, at this stage of the game.
Is 18 to 35 trying to make it.
I think they're starting to get a lot. You're able to get a lot more opportunity, unfortunately, in other places, especially if you're from a different demographic. If you didn't grow up with money, if you didn't grow up with a supporting cast, I'm seeing it a lot clearer where Atlanta has, an amazing network. A lot of
when does someone say something
in terms of
in the office of Albany? When does someone say this? When does someone say, "Yo, we're losing people"? Like it can't. This is not sustainable. This is not. When does someone say New York is losing New York? When do we say like, "Yo, Atlanta, Florida, parts of Texas"? And Charlotte, they're able to.
Those conversations are happening now.
You think?
No, I'm telling you. Even from Mayor Adams that has a whole homeless issue in regards to.
I'm not talking about the asylums.
The asylum. No, but those things play a part. because you have to talk about how overpopulated New York City, those 5 boroughs are itself. We forget that New York is 8 hours long. You went to school in one of the most north places of the world.
I'm not talking about Buffalo.
No, but I'm just that's the point though. They're having those conversations now. But at the end of the day, even for the pod, the biggest thing is if you have to find opportunity, you guys are listening. We did the whole aspect of New York dying. They kind of hear it, right?
I hope so.
I hope so.
75th episode. And the reason why we keep going over, we're from New York. So when you sit here and you live in it, there's like, as New York hip hop continues to die and sound like everyone else's hip hop.
As always, we're looking for new ways for us to grow and give our listeners the hidden opportunity. So our partners at the Languages of Money e-course has given us an exclusive 25% off to their flagship financial literacy e-course that gives you gems on credit, debt, money, and the whole nine. So go to thelanguagesofmoney.com, use the discount code, the hidden opportunity, and keep growing with us.
It's like New York's dying as well. It's like it correlates with each other. When there's no culture anymore, there's no culture. It's gentrified. And I'm not just talking about with white people. I'm talking about it's gentrified with people that are affluent people that are coming in the neighborhoods that are sucking out the culture in which was there. When you go to certain areas, I'll never forget. Rest in peace, my Uncle Bobby. My grandparents are from Brooklyn. Rest in peace, my grandfather and grandmother as well. You know Atlantic Ave where Barclays is. Of course, you're from Brooklyn. We're driving to the city, my Uncle Bobby's funeral. We're driving there. We go, I think we're passing through East New York or something like that. All right. Grandma's is healthy at this time. My uncle's driving. I'm with my mom as well. She's good too. You see a white woman jogging with her sports bra on, no shirt, and some panties. My grandmother says, "Hold on now. This is not the Brooklyn I grew up in." Grandma stopped the car. Literally said, "Gerard, stop the car. What is going on?" Not because she wanted to see crack and cocaine and heroin on the street, but she literally asked herself, what happened to the town? Because she's Bed-Stuy do or die. You know, that's where she grew up on. Like she grew up like when Jay says, I'm riding through Bed-Stuy, make a ride on Nostrand Ave in New York. Like that's her. Like that's where she grew up. Like by that, like that's where she's from. Right? From the gut. You know what I mean? Redlining. Like she's the line, you heard?
Red, yeah.
Yes. So she's sitting there and she's going to herself and going, yo, this is not where I grew up at. And we make a turn where it used to be project houses and it's these $1 million homes. And she said, she was like, yo, I get it. I love it. But at the same time, you can't take the culture out of it. Because what happens is 20 years from now, 40 years from now, you look and we're old and we're in our 70s and we're sitting here. We got kids that are in their 30s, they're our age. And you go, okay. And you look at the culture of it and it's gone. You're in a museum at that point.
I'll agree with that. I think I'll agree with that. Because I watched it happen, but I also think you dramatize it a little bit because we're not there yet. In terms of the totality of what we have, we're watching it happen. You are, and that's why this episode.
I think we're watching it.
That's the exact reason why we're having this episode of is New York or big cities the best place for entrepreneurs, for young entrepreneurs anymore? And at the end of the day, as much as I still say yes because you can find opportunity, I do feel no now because of the cost of living, the fact that if you have all millionaires or CEOs living in a particular neighborhood, they're not catering to this new.
Remember when we were kids and we're obviously both ex-basketball players and we appreciated the game of basketball tremendously. The Big East.
Oh, why you bring up the Big East?
Was our favorite conference.
That wasn't nobody's favorite conference. It was the best conference head and shoulders for years.
And just like New York is dying, the Big East died.
Oh, Big East died.
With St. John's.
Tremendous death.
With St. John's going to... Anyway, with Syracuse and with UConn's, and everyone's going all these different places.
Georgetown.
And you look at it and you go, well, this isn't the Big East. This isn't the Big East I grew up on. And when I talk about New York, it's like, it's literally what happened to the Big East is happening to the boroughs in front of our eyes.
I can see that.
So when you go, because in 30 years, like, our kids are going to talk about Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Miami, Charlotte. Like, we talk about New York City. But it was just it's gonna be a figment in our imagination at that point in time. That's what I believe. So when you hear me go on this rant, it's like, yo, when people worth a lot of money are leaving somewhere because they can't afford it, and the only people that can afford something are rich people, that's a problem. And I'm very much a capitalist. And I'm not sitting here on some, we need equal wages. No, I'm sitting here on some, it has to make sense as our screen goes dead in the background. But what I'm saying to you is, it has to make sense. It just genuinely has to make sense. It does not make sense for us right now as New Yorkers.
So in your experience as an entrepreneur, what are some of the best cities
that I've been to
that's helped your growth, and why?
Number one is Atlanta, because there's people that look like me there, and there's a network of people where I don't have to go and feel out of the box, and I can have a conversation with him or her and just sit there and build off of a commonality of being kinfolk. All right. Second would be Houston. It's near and dear to my heart. Third would be Dallas. I think fourth, and I haven't been there very, very long or much, would be North and South Carolina.
I heard good things.
I think 5 would be Miami, just Florida in general. The only reason it's not higher is because of the actual racial dynamic and the politics that go down there. It's like, it's a lot, and it's like, it ruins the mojo of the city, because a lot more black folk and minority folk and black and brown folk in general would want to live down there.
Yeah,
if there wasn't this overarching theme of just of racism. That was, okay. So that's the only reason that's 5. But those are your top 5, and then you have like your Vegases. But I just think those 5 places are the places. 1 being Atlanta, 2 being Houston, Dallas, 3, 4 being Charlotte, 5 being Florida, and then New York and Cali, obviously New York and Cali are like, that's 1A and 1B. Is New York and Cali, and Atlanta is like 3. But if you set it to live there, it's not feasible unless you grew up there. Like if you're a kid, if you're in your 20s and you're just starting to get your career going and saying, I'm gonna move to New York, it's dumb. It's just dumb. It's just like, if you live in Idaho.
But also we have to talk about industries, because if you're trying to get into particular industries, New York and Cali make sense in regards to.
You go to Atlanta, Miami, or Charlotte.
Yes and no.
Chicago.
But again,
I'm in Chicago.
For movies, film, music, even finance, right? Like, you want to be in a New York. You don't mind paying those premiums. If you're on Wall Street.
If you have your own business, if you have that type of stuff going on, you'll move there. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to, if podcasting was our main job, are you moving to LA or are you moving to Atlanta? Are you moving to Texas or are you moving to New York? You're gonna move to New York. That's what you're gonna do
for podcasting.
I mean, pardon me, I'm wild. You're gonna move to Atlanta.
Yep.
You're not moving to New York. You're not moving to LA. LA's dope. So if you move to Atlanta, you get popping, you get a buzz, and then you want to, be bi-coastal and live in LA. I get it. But by the time you do that, you're already in Atlanta, and your property taxes are way lower, and you're not.
You done bought a property, and you have a couple dollars.
You might
in your
move
pocket.
45 minutes out the city, but you're still out in that Atlanta area. It's just, man, Cali's crazy. It's crazy, man.
I'll say this because as we go on this rant, the point of it is to highlight where makes the most sense for you to build your business, your network, and your foundation as an entrepreneur, right? For everybody listening, as you hear Trevor and I, It is in your computer, but at the end of the day, you have to get out from outside of that computer. You need to go shake hands, kiss babies, and build some genuine relationships that actually build you to the next level. Because at the end of the day, a cold email is way harder to get traction on than meeting somebody at an event, grabbing a drink with somebody, shaking that person's hand, and having a genuine conversation. So for everybody listening, you have to weigh out a couple things. And the reason I asked you that question, Trev, is because there's a couple things in those places that you said that all have commonality. The cost of living is different in Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. I mean, just Houston, Atlanta, Charlotte.
Vegas is crazy.
Vegas, but Vegas
Arizona too.
Vegas is also growing. Without jokes aside, with the sports population bringing teams to Vegas, they're doing a lot more infrastructure, building out everything outside of the Strip. Vegas is actually growing in terms of economy and real estate, also in terms of its proximity to Cali. So, for
Arizona is a humongous place too.
Humongous. But for my entrepreneurs and us, everybody listening, when we start talking about the things to make you guys successful, we do the deep dive on New York because obviously we're from New York and we have a lot of listeners from New York, Cali, and a lot of entrepreneurs are based there. But is New York the best place for you? Is California the best place for you? Is Trev can't answer that question for you.
I answered.
You need to think about your cash flow.
How he goes, as a financial advisor, anything I say does not count. As someone who's not a financial advisor and who lives life,
this is a financial
everything
advice.
I say counts. And I will tell you, if you're trying to start a career, you should not move to New York or California. You should move to Texas, Chicago, or Atlanta, possibly Arizona.
I second that. And the
Florida,
reason why is community-wise, cost of living, your money could stretch a little bit further. You could build relationships a little bit more organically from the ground level up. Because also, when you come to New York, with so much about this money and what's your status, it kind of gets...
Everywhere's like that, though.
No, it is. But in terms of the feedback for your business, right? And what I mean by that is... So, in New York, in the proximity of 5th Avenue, 4th, 6th, 7th Avenue, you have Billionaires Row. Yeah. Everybody worth $100 million plus. We're not trying to talk to you. The mentorship is a little bit harder to come by unless you're coming through a traditional Columbia University, NY University, prestige college to where, all right, now we'll intern you, as opposed to going to a Houston or Atlanta, bumping into an old brother that done did his thing, an old sister that done did their thing, and they're like, all right, come, let me put you under the wing, put you under the titty, come get this knowledge. Yeah. Now, again, I advocate for it, but at the end of the day, we want to be unbiased and highlight the both sides of it because depending your industry, how much money you make, what you're trying to do, the color of your skin, the age that you are, your gender, you need to start thinking about where it makes the most sense. Because at the end of the day, the entrepreneur game, especially right now, is behind this computer, behind your phone.
If we're being serious and we're being honest, the best place in the world to live is New York City. I mean, for life.
Elaborate.
I
think that's hard to say after you just went on a tangent.
No. I'm saying if you have the money.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's the caveat.
Have the money.
If you have the money,
okay. I think that
still might be a Cali outside because of the weather.
That's great. I'm letting you know. As a New Yorker,
been trying to convince you since our whole friendship.
This is, and I might be, but I live there.
You wanted Trev came back from college to cut him off on purpose. Trev came back from let me rephrase it. Trev was leaving to college. He lived in Long Island majority of his life. I moved to Long Island.
I got on all white, no socks.
He's different.
I got on all white, no socks. Anyway, what I'm saying to you is, Jay.
You don't want to tell the Jamaica Ave story? Go ahead.
No, it's all right. So we're on Jamaica. It's all right. I'm a homebody. I'm from Long Island, and I'm a local ass person.
All right.
And I'm sitting here as one of my mentors said, you're a local ass bitch, and you're a lab, and lab stands for local ass bitch, and Jay's like,
been
yo,
out of Long Island.
Yeah, I've been out of Long Island. Please be respectful. Please be respectful. So I need to get some clothes, and I'm going away to college. I need some shoes, and, some tees and whatnot. And Jay's like, yo, one of my uncles broke me off. I just got a scholarship. He gave me, so I took the money. I gave Jay, call him, So I'm like, Jay, pull up with me. So we go to go to the Ave, Jamaica Ave. And before that, I think 2 days before that, we was in the city going wild. It was a good time. And we go to the Ave.
First time Trevor on the Ave, and he's just seeing life for the first time. I'm like, Trev, you keep trying to shop out here. We got X amount of dollars. This money will go a lot further on. Nah, I'm good, Jay. We can find it. Yo, let's go to the Ave. You won't regret it.
So I get there, and I pull up, and everyone's beautiful. Smelling good, and the heels are clicking and clacking, and the sundresses were swaying in the air.
Sundressing.
Smelled like cocoa butter and a good time. I get out of the car, and we park and lock my doors. 'Cause you gotta lock your doors out.
Oh, you gotta lock your doors out there.
And I get out there, and my favorite outfit is $2. Next door is 50 cents.
You're gonna have your best Jamaican food down the block after you
we
shop
ate
all
well,
day.
and we
Get
bought
some
clothes,
Timbs,
and-
some Uptowns for the low.
And I say all this to say, when we get home, I go, mind you, this is 2 days after we were in Manhattan, because Jamaica has in Queens for people.
10 plus years ago.
This is, it's maybe 12.
Yeah.
And I said to Jay, Jay.
You ain't say it like that.
I said, Jay. I'm not going to leave. I said, I'm not
Leave it.
leaving. And
This is the best city in the world.
this is the best city in the world.
Oh, you
And it
didn't
took
know
me
this
that time.
side.
And when I
Yeah.
say, when you can go from Dykeman to Harlem to Jamaica
Lower East
Ave,
Side.
down to, don't go to the Bronx.
Don't go.
No
disrespect.
disrespect, but every bit of disrespect possible. I'm not going to the Bronx. Like, you will not see me in the Bronx. I'm not going there.
You good?
And I'm
You
good.
pass?
You know, in Staten Island, I'm real 25, 75, 25.
There's nothing
Yes,
there
and
for
75.
me.
No, there's nothing there for me. Shout out to Wu-Tang and Shaolin, but I'm good.
Shout out my homies.
But shout out all y'all. But it's just like, when you can go to Queens, Manhattan, and Brooklyn, and then, you know, certain other places, and live in Long Island and get all that. It was my first time ever as a local ass bitch that I got a chance to really be outside and be like, and I just got out I just got out, and I said, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
So I say all that to say, if you know how to move in New York, like Trev said, it's
the best place in the world.
It is it. It is
It's the best place in the world, because you can go from white to black to Middle Eastern to
Chinese,
to Latin
Asian,
to Asian.
It's the best melting pot in the world.
It's nothing better. But you're gonna have to pay $2,000 for one room, and then you had to pay $1,000 for the oxygen to breathe in that room. I say all that to say, I love Atlanta.
Anyway, as we wrap this podcast up, I want you guys to do a quick thing for me and Trev and I, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as somebody getting ready for retirement, as somebody just trying to hit that next stride in life. I need you to do a quick audit of the place that you live, and does it make the most sense for you? Now, I'm not saying to just jump up and move.
Relationship wise, networking wise,
cash flow, cost of living,
mentorship wise, cost of living, and opportunity. So as hard as it is to live in New York, there's a
tremendous opportunity.
Is a tremendous opportunity, because there's a lot of money out here. So yes, it costs a lot to live, but if you have a skill set, you're gonna make the money.
And if you know how to network and talk to people, you're going to have a crazy network.
Yeah, you're gonna have a crazy network, and same with LA. I'm Trevor Jackson.
I'm Jordan Warrior.
God, thank you guys for listening to the Hidden Opportunity Podcast. I got on all socks. No socks, all white. You heard? Peace.
Summer 23.
Good Lord. Summer.